Hi everyone, it's Dr. Brad Meyer from Stephen F. Austin State University, where I'm the Associate Professor of Percussion. My first tip for the ATSSB Year E Timpani Etude is just to talk a little bit about dampenings. Now, hopefully you're watching a few videos of people that have played this, hopefully you're using mine, but you want to make sure that you're checking out where people are dampening the drums since they're not written into the etude. So dampening when it comes to timpani etudes is kind of a personal preference, but there are some kind of general areas where most people are going to dampen. So just use your best judgment, use my video, and make sure that you mark in where dampenings are supposed to happen. But what I want to talk about is how to dampen so that we're actually getting the idea of dampening, which means to remove sound rather than what a lot of young high schoolers or percussionists do, which is when they dampen, they accidentally do things that either add sound or modify the sound in a negative way. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that when we're dampening, that we're holding on to the stick with the thumb and the first finger, and that we are dampening only with the back three front pads of the fingers, so that when we're getting on the drum, we're using just those three pads. We're not using our palm. We're not letting the stick get on there. We're just using those three pads of our fingers, back three fingers, right where we struck. So if I strike here, I'm going to place my fingers there. So there's four big things that I see young percussionists do that hurt their sound when dampening. The first is going to be when they slam or slap the drum. So when they dampen, you'll hear. That's bad because obviously dampen means to remove sound, and by slapping it, we're getting a t sound. So we're adding a sound. So the way to get rid of that is instead of coming on top of the drum, I like to think that there's a bar that I'm reaching underneath that I can't touch. And by doing this, I stay low to the drum, and I don't get that slapping sound. The second thing that I see young percussionists do, and I don't know why people do this, but a lot do it, is they will swipe the drum. So they'll go. In my mind, it's probably like they're trying to clean the drum, they're getting rid of the dirt, they're getting rid of the sound, but either way, as you can hear, that actually adds that swiping sound, and it actually doesn't dampen the drum very effectively. You'll hear the drum goes bow, bow, while we get the sh sound. So that's bad. The third thing that people do incorrectly when dampening is they press too hard into the drum. We don't need to press hard into the drum because when we do, first of all, it could hurt the drum by stretching it out and could actually break the head. And secondly, is that it also hurts the pitch. So when we're playing and we press in hard, it increases the tension of the head and that pitch goes up. So if you can hear that, it goes ba, ba. And we don't want that because that's affecting the drum's pitch. We want it to stay nice and even with the pitch. And so what we need to do is just place those fingers on and don't press in. Just a nice light kind of touching of the drum. The fourth and final thing is where we're dampening on the drums. So typically when I see young percussionists, when they dampen, they'll dampen too close to the bearing edge. So you'll see that this is the bearing edge, this is the rim. They'll dampen right here because it does get rid of some sound, but it doesn't get rid of all of it. So for example, a bad dampening that's too close to the edge sounds like this. We can hear the drum keeps ringing on. However, if I dampen right where I struck, which is about 2.5. On bigger drums, it's going to be about 3.5 inches in. Then the drum is going to immediately dampen without any kind of ringing. So we want to dampen right where we play. I hope that helps. Have a great day and act some jacks.